Wait, sidebar.
Yeah.
Did you go home and watch TV? You were able to watch TV?
Yes. You and I were on different paths that night.
I ordered a lot of McDonald's Uber Eats on my way home.
Yes. You were at the bar, and I was like, hey, there's an A&W down the street. You want to get food? And you're like, I don't think I can. I'm going to Uber Eats it to my house. And I'm like, got it.
Yeah. On today's Good Buds episode, we talk the November hot streak and how it just keeps giving every single year. The whole team is injured, essentially. Steven Lorentz's passion levels with a sick Timmy Brent reference. God of the Week, This Is Egregious, Numbers Game, and news around the league. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 43 of the Good Buds podcast, a show about the Toronto Maple Leafs. Not weed, but weed is tight. My name is Joey Belfiore. I'm here with Andrew Bascom. Andrew, we're rolling, baby. We're rolling.
You know, episode 43, the Nazem Kadri episode of this podcast.
Yeah, I thought that too. Yeah.
I was seeing he has a book that's come out, and I'm not going to say he didn't take time doing it or anything like that, but the cover is so lazy. Like, it looks like if you had to like fake it for a sitcom, and it's called like Living Dreams, My Life on the Edge. And I'm like, oh, every time I pass the poster, it's like on a construction site near us. And I'm like, yikes, they couldn't come up with a title, could they? Like, whoa.
I was walking on Ossington yesterday and saw it. And my first thought was just like, why now?
Yeah.
Like, you're still playing. I was just trying to think of other athlete examples who have like written books while their careers are still going. Like, I think Nazem is a 1990 baby, so he's my age. So like, you still got a considerable amount of time left in the league. Like, he's in year 2 of that 7-year contract?
Yeah. Well, okay.
So
I'm sure we're going to talk about that contract very soon because the rumors around this week about him and a list of people possibly Toronto being interested in. But I was thinking also about that book being like, he left Toronto, he won, he went to Colorado, he's gone to Calgary, and yet you got to imagine the sales in Toronto are going to be the strongest because I think he has the most, I don't know, impression on this city. And I just always think of like, man, he's had a lot of success other places. I wonder how many more athletes leave for multiple cities, and then the first one's always like, no, we'll sell the most books, or we have the most cultural resonance there. I just find that very interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was kind of confused as to why now.
Yeah,
like,
why now? Yeah,
write a book for sure, but don't you want to like have a bit more to talk about?
Yeah, there's no end to the story yet. Like,
yeah,
okay. I guess that'll be for the sequel. Yeah,
I guess. Yeah, second book coming out.
Yeah, my life's still on the edge. Yeah, number 2.
Leafs get a big win against Vegas. We were both there in the building. With awesome seats.
Very good seats. Yes.
Center ice. That's
just
awesome.
about as good as I've ever sat. That's incredible.
Yeah, I think so too. We were going to record yesterday, but I was very hungover. So
completely unrelated to us going to the game.
You, generously enough, offered, let's do it on Friday instead, which was nice because my energy would have been super low yesterday. The vodka sodas pile up while you're at the game, and it gets especially okay. This will take us right into the Zach Whitecloud hit on Matthew Nyes because that fired me up, and I think it fired the rest of the crowd up. And what started as kind of like a soft, just slower paced game, that ignited everyone in the building. I thought I was losing my mind.
Yes, I was too.
Everyone was screaming at the refs, and I just thought that sort of brought. Yeah, I guess it brought the team together, like got them gelling, woke them up a little bit, but it just sort of woke the whole building up.
Yeah.
You never want to see that, and you don't want that to be the reason.
No.
For
and as
positivity,
we record,
but
yeah, and as we record today, Nyes is not practicing, so it looks like it is going to have long-term, at least long enough term impact. But I agree when it comes to the crowd. The crowd just kind of needs a poke every once in a while, and sometimes that's a comeback or a goal or something. But that crowd, as we know, and we've said many times, can be super dead when it's 0-0, and it was. In that first period, it was not doing great. Minton scores, then it gets really excited, then Nyes then the crowd was on fire.
Yeah, it was going from there. So let's stay on the hit for a bit. What do you there's been so many, people voicing their opinion about this. Biz essentially went on like a fucking tangent, calling out everyone who thought it was dirty. What did you think?
You know what, I struggle. You know, you're live, so you're only able to see what they show you, which amazingly, usually they show you nothing. If it disagrees with the referee, they try not to show the replay at all because it'll incite the crowd. But they were just showing the replay, and it was pretty clear from what we were seeing, 50 feet away on a big screen, that we're like, well, it looks like his feet aren't on the ice, and he is definitely going up towards the face at the end. And you're like, well, okay, the problem is, even more than an ejection or a 5-minute major or whatever, was it ended up with Vegas being on the power play after all that. And you're like, well, how could that be the outcome of this? That is the part that is most frustrating. It's like, I would understand if you're like, I don't know, it's just a 2-minute. Okay, just a 2-minute, that's fine. But it was actually Vegas on the power play? Toronto got the penalty? That was the part that I think was the most frustrating.
That was the most insane part. I don't think the hit is a suspendable hit. Like a lot of people were comparing it to the Reeves hit. I don't think those are comparable hits. No. I think I'll even give Zach Whitecloud a pass on the feet leaving the ice because I thought the feet left the ice after the contact. It wasn't he wasn't like leaping at him.
Yep.
I did think the initial point of contact was the head.
Yes.
That being said, I don't think it's a suspendable hit. I don't necessarily think it was a major, but I did not understand the fact that we ended up on the penalty kill. Like, for me, I thought the refs were smart to call it a 5 so they could look at it.
Yep.
Right? Because you have to call it a 5 if you want it to be reviewable. So they call it a 5 to look at it, and then they don't call anything except roughing on Whitecloud, roughing on Benoit, and then an extra 2 on Benoit. Yeah. Why was there an extra 2 given to Benoit? I get the initial 2 for the retaliation.
Yes.
So 4-on-4 hockey.
Right.
That I would have even been fine with. Why the extra 2?
I'm not sure. And just like NHL refereeing is so bad that you assume it kind of works out into the middle. Like we were with somebody that doesn't know a lot about hockey, and I was explaining to her that the whole time going like, she's like, oh, why do they call stuff? I'm like, well, since they got a lot of calls, now we'll get the next call. We all know that. That's just an agreed upon thing that we all do. And the fact that the Whitecloud hit was on the edge, and even though they decided it wasn't going to be something more, you think they would have just been like the NFL, at the end of an NFL game, like offsetting penalties. We're just not going to just everyone settle down. You know what I mean? You're surprised that they did more than that instead of just doing the cowardly way, which is usually what the NHL referees do, and just going like, matching penalties. Just don't worry about it. Everyone's back on. Like, let's go. I'm surprised they went out of their way to make a specific point to punish Benoit like that.
Yeah. And then a great kill, which got the crowd even more into it. Yeah. Just an absolute defensive and shot blocking clinic.
Yes.
Like, Wall got the shutout, but I didn't think he needed to be spectacular in any sort of way. It was just like such a great team defense game. Like, so much laying the body out, laying the body on the line, shut down, really not allowing them to get any. Like, I was saying to you at one point, I was like, I don't remember like a really big save he had to make all game.
No, he was, it's just a good team defense where he's in the right position. They're blocking the shots that are the obvious ones. They blocked 27 shots. 26 shots because Sportsnet eventually later that night when I was watching television goes, when's the last time you seen the Leafs block 26 shots? Well, the last time it was the game before against the Edmonton Oilers. It's amazing how many shots they're blocking right now and just getting in the way of obvious passing channels and big open shots. Like, you're just not seeing those huge opportunities right now, especially in the last couple games.
Wait, sidebar.
Yeah.
Did you go home and watch TV? You were able to watch TV?
Yes. You and I were on different paths that night.
I ordered a lot of McDonald's Uber Eats on my way home. Yes.
You were at the bar, and I was like, hey, there's an A&W down the street. You want to get food? And you're like, I don't think I can. I'm going to Uber Eats it to my house. And I'm like, got it. Yeah. You got it. 10-4, good buddy.
We were playing pool, and I just remember, like, not being able to, like, I was like, oh, I've lined the shot up properly. I'm going to be able to hit this in. And just being so off target. Oh, well.
That and you using your pool cue as a bow staff a lot. And us going like, whoa. And you're like, no, I can do it. I'm like, no, I'm not doubting that. I'm not doubting that.
Yep. It's a fun night. Fraser Minton scores his first NHL goal. That was a lot of fun. Just the shock on his face reminded me of Travis Dermott scoring his.
Yes.
Which, just pure, honestly, like, surprise a little bit. And, pure glee, which was really nice to see. What a fudging pass by William Nylander.
What a pass. Unbelievable. And that's why I think he's even shocked. Like, Minton scores, he's like, oh my God. Like, all I had to do was just shoot the puck. Like, it was an amazing pass.
Yeah, Minton, who, like, we've all praised for just coming into the league with a lot of hockey sense.
Yeah.
Says, like, sometimes in a line shift when half the line hasn't gotten off yet, you're kind of at an advantage where if the puck is in the other team's zone and you're changing already, the team hasn't picked you up yet. So he was just like, I'm just going to skate backside post. And then, Willie can see everything. He just, with a nice backhanded no-look pass, went through the D and right to his stick, almost like an easy tap-in to go top shelf. Really nice. Really nice first NHL goal.
Well, we talked about Wall. It was a 3-0 game, right? And I think the thing that we're kind of maybe sleeping on a little bit is why is that such a shocking victory against the Golden Knights? Well, the Golden Knights are a very good team, but it was the fact that the Toronto Maple Leafs were down so many goddamn players. They're playing a roster by construction that no one had ever planned on, and losing Nyes halfway through the game as well is one of the most amazing parts. Like, it's just, you were looking at the lineup and looking at numbers and trying to figure out on the fly, like, who did they line people? Okay, so who's the guy that's double shifting? And you're like, it's a really impressive thing, not only for the players, which of course that's what you should say, but it's for the coaching staff, for them to figure this out on the fly and get the combinations right. They looked great. They looked dangerous too during the game, even though they were kind of low on shot count.
Yeah, it was a really impressive win. It's been a really impressive stretch based on what's kind of happened to the lineup. We talked about this last episode where it's like the Leafs always struggle in October, and then they always get really, really hot in November, and then they get really injured in December. It just looks like the December injury has hit us a little bit earlier, but the November sexiness is like, damn, we're 6-1 without Austin Matthews. We'll get more into the injuries later. Let's just stay on this game for a little bit. Nikita Grabenkin with his debut. Thought he was great.
This is exactly what we needed. Where's this guy been? And you say the Marlies, I swear to God, he's been down the street the whole time. He is exactly what we need, especially as we talk about third and fourth line cohesiveness, let's say. He is exactly what we need. He's greasy. He's aggressive. And obviously, and he's good for a quote, it turns out, too.
Yeah, Forecheck, Backcheck, Paycheck. His laugh was so good. I was dying.
He knew he had it too. He could barely get Paycheck out, but he's like, "Oh, I got it. I got a heater right here."
Yeah. Just like, it's funny. Like, I saw an article where it's comparing him to Ilya Mikheyev, and I was like, "Huh? They have completely different games." And I was like, "Oh no, wait, they're going at the angle of like the Russian fan favorite." Like,
oh, okay.
I was like, "Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense."
Sure. Yeah.
But excited to see him. Like, he's obviously going to get a few more looks now with the lineup being where it is.
Yeah, I know he's young and all, but physical. Like, he was so strong. Like, he was pushing people around the whole time, and that's not the stuff you usually see. It's usually like, not to nail on Fraser Minton, but Fraser Minton comes into to plays the season or starts the season last year, and he was just getting pushed around like crazy. And you're like, well, that makes sense. He's a kid and all that kind of stuff. Grabenko would look like scary. Like, he was going out trying to hurt somebody. It was great.
Yep. Saturday night, the Saturday before.
Yeah.
Leafs get a big win against Edmonton. Obviously, the talking point there is Ryan Reeves' hit on Nurse, which we just kind of touched on.
Yeah.
I mean, sucks. The outcome sucks. That's, I guess, I mean, you're just like, you don't want to see anyone get hit in the head because it's just dangerous and you never know, like, the lingering effects. And obviously, his visor cut him. Looked bad. Looked, I think, worse when you see that much blood on the ice. But
yeah.
Reeves has a history. He gets 5. Honestly, like,
I'm not going to argue
I
with
don't
that.
think Reeves should be playing. So if it takes a suspension for Craig Berube not to put him in the lineup, that works out for me.
Yeah, I'm on two sides on this one, but I agree with both of you. The one is the NHL side where you go, 5 games, you're like, well, yeah, okay. He's got a history. He did come around. He looked like he was making a line for him, in a vulnerable position. Okay, that all makes sense to me. And the second half is this the worst thing that's ever happened? No, probably not. Ryan Reeves shouldn't probably be in the lineup anyway. It's just amazing that with all the injuries that we're going to talk about in the second year, and that you have all these AHL players come in, and immediately our fourth line, I'm like, ooh, that's a better fourth line. This is way better now. And you're like, how is that possible? We're missing 8 guys. But it's just, there is punch in the bottom of the lineup, and it feels like people like Steven Lorentz, and Connor Dewar and stuff just feel more dangerous, and that line feels like it's moving a lot more without someone like Ryan Reeves kind of maybe holding them back a little bit.
Yeah, they just bring something, and I don't think at this point with the way Ryan Reeves is playing hockey, he doesn't bring anything except his locker room presence, which I'm cool with.
Which he was still there.
Yeah, he doesn't have to be on the ice to be in the locker room.
He was still in the tunnel, dapping everyone up on the way out. That's great. Yeah, like awesome. Yeah. He could take Jake Muzzin's job for all I care. Like he can just be working in the front office. That's great.
Yeah. Mitchie Marner with a beautiful sequence in overtime to break up a 2-on-1 and then go down and net the winner, which looked very similar to his first ever NHL goal. Like, do you remember that one against Boston? Just coming down the right side and picking low blocker. You like to see Mitchie shoot the puck. He's got a great shot. He doesn't shoot that much. He's always looking past. So, especially with John Tavares on his flank coming down, I thought for sure he was going to pass that puck. Probably, Stuart Skinner thinks he's going to pass that puck. I was just
going to say, so does Skinner, yeah.
You gain an advantage there. Let's get into God of the Week, because,
oh, sure.
I'm revealing mine.
Obviously, we're looked upon as, kind of gods here, to be honest.
Okay, so my God of the Week is Mitchell Marner, because he deserves it, and you know what? Yeah. He's the poster boy of this segment because of sometimes the things he says and shit like that. And but he's such a good player. And with Austin Matthews out of the lineup, Austin has missed 7 games. We have gone 6-1 in his absence. Mitch Marner has 2 points in 6 of those 7 games. The only game he did not was the game we got shut out 3-0 against Ottawa, and that big stinker. Sense. But 2 points in 6 of 7 games, which led to 6 wins. He's stepping up.
Yeah.
He is currently playing better than anyone on the team. He's leading in a great way. He's doing things at both ends of the ice. The things that Mitch Marner does, and it's funny, it's always we have to surprise ourselves with this shit. Where it's he's just such a good no, this is Mitch Marner. Yeah, this is Mitch Marner. He gives you this. He gives you this night in and night out. He is a world-class right winger, one of the best forwards in the league. And obviously the knock on him is his game kind of disappears in the playoffs. Well, it's not the playoffs right now. It's November, and he's playing out of his mind. So, Mitchie, you're my God of the Week. Keep her going.
Yeah, absolutely. He looks so dangerous, and even in the game we were at, he just kept circling with the puck and cycling, and they just couldn't keep it off of him. He's he's unbelievable. You're right. It's like this thing where we go I hope he has a good game. Like he's a $4 million player. He's an $11 million player, and he's one of the best players in the world, and he can really take over a game. And I think this part is so funny where we remind ourselves of that, but is also highlighting how frustrating this can be, because you're like, why aren't you like this all the time? This is so great. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not trying to take away from God of the Week, because he is one of the gods of the week. Is that it does remind you with our players that you're like, are our skill sets redundant? Like, should we diversify this money? And it's just so funny to see Austin Matthews get out of the lineup, and then you go, yeah, wait a second, why isn't it like this all the time? That's amazing. So we're gonna talk about Austin Matthews in a second, because going to Germany, God, whoa, eyes open. Andrew, my God of the Week is going to be Steven Lorentz. The thing that I said that the quote is just amazing is when he said he blocked 3 shots and he took 2 right in the same spot and he's limping off the ice. But his quote was, "I was channeling my inner Timmy Brent there. It definitely didn't feel too good, but it's always worth it when your guys come through." Now, that's a great quote about your team there, Steven. But you dropped a Tim Brent reference? Oh, the passion. Oh, the passion is so strong. Oh, my God. I love this guy. You're God of the Week, Steven Lorentz.
I loved that so much. Only true Leaf fans remember the 5-on-3 against Carolina where Tim Brent went God mode. It just blocked everything. I remember exactly where I was. Just what a cool reference to drop. Yeah, passion levels so high.
Oh, so high. You can't fake that. That is so good. That was
great. Yeah, no one can pull that out of their ass, except a true Leafs fan.
Absolutely. You can pull up stats. You can find that on True Media and online and stuff like that. You're not looking up highlights of Tim Brent.
That was a 2-minute moment in a very shitty era of Leafs hockey.
Oh,
what
Waterloo
a
zone.
Brent.
Waterloo zone. Steven Lorentz. Passion is strong. My goodness. You're my God of the Week, because he is putting his foot and ass on the line.
Yeah, that was great. Love to see that. Love to see people lay their body on the line. Okay, the injuries.
Yes, let's
Austin Matthews ist in Deutschland.
This
is very concerning, alarming, whatever you want to call it.
I'm trying to think of a German word that's negative.
Schlecht.
Schlecht, yes, absolutely. Because we've been talking about this for now 2 weeks. When the mystery of his injury is one thing, and you're like, God, but he's still not skating. And it was that level of like, he's still not skating, meaning he could be skating soon, right? And then the next thing you hear is he's still not skating, he's on his way to Germany. You're like, what? Wait, what? So you've heard a lot of things about Germany in the past. Like usually the famous one is always Kobe Bryant goes to Germany, gets like, I think stem cells or something like that injected into his knee. He's able to play for many more years because of it. But it's a surgery that you're not allowed to do in North America. And so that's the first thing I thought of when I thought of Germany. And I went, oh my God, what the hell? But it seems like now Berube's quote as of today is it's looking really good. He's going to be skating very, very soon. And so whatever that thing was in Germany, it seems to be kind of an immediate fix instead of, oh no, this is actually going to be much longer than we thought. Is that what you're getting from this?
Yeah, it's just like, it's so confusing and mysterious.
Yeah.
And I wish you had to say more. I wish it was required to give more info. Like, I thought, didn't Christian McCaffrey go to Germany this year too?
Yes.
I don't know. Frankie Cervalli just reported that they're targeting this coming week or next week, Wednesday against Florida, which basically means he'll miss one more game as his return. But I'm confused that you can report that without him getting on the ice yet.
Yeah, like they know that so sure that, it has to be unrelated to something involving him skating to think that, he'll be fine with that. It's just getting him back into the game. It's like, okay. It does make me think it's his back, like, because it's been his back in the past. And that does feel like one of those things that, like, it's not a lower body injury because they probably want to see him skate. Or, like his shoulder or stuff or wrist in the past where they want to see him shoot. So instead, it's like something that he just needs to get back. This is wild assumption, so I, take that for a grain of salt. But that was both scary and now confusing because now they seem to have a good idea of when he's coming back. Which, how is that possible after being in Germany a couple days ago?
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, when Austin Matthews is ready to return, he's ready to return.
Sure.
You get him in the lineup
Sure.
ASAP. But something gives me a little bit of pause where it's just like, do you want his first game back to be against the most ruthless, rat-faced, tough team in the league that essentially cheats the system in that way? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if people like Sam Bennett or Matthew Tkachuk are targeting places of Austin Matthews that
absolutely
shouldn't be being targeted. So I don't know. I was just like, he's returning against Florida, eh? Interesting.
It does feel like a choice. I don't know if I fully understand it. They know way more than I do, but I don't. Whatever. Say, 6-1 while he's been gone, so even he's got to be feeling happy about that. But on top of that, he's not the only one that's injured. I think this is kind of the biggest point.
Yeah, Domi is out, Kampf is out, Järnkrok is out, Pacioretty's out, Nyes is out. OEL is now sick. He missed practice today, but he's just sick, so take a couple days, OEL.
He's on LTIR right now. Oh my God. Some of them are very odd. Like the Domi one came after a skate of a practice that he was doing line rushes on, and then they retroactively put him on the IR for days before that. Calle Järnkrok is seeing every doctor under the sun to see that if he's going to
I don't think he's going to play this year. I don't think Calle Järnkrok is going to play again this year. Maybe like a playoff return, but
I would agree with you. I think that's what it sounds like. It sounds like they're so unsure about his groin that it doesn't look like he's going to be playing this year.
He just had sports hernia surgery, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know what the fudge that is.
I don't either.
It just doesn't sound good.
No. There's so many injuries that you're like, oh yeah, okay, cool. Like they got to change the name of turf toe because it sounds ridiculous, but it actually is like one of the most painful things you can get. And you're like, oh wow, we should really change that to something more ruthless. But okay, so of those injuries, and on top of that, Reeves being suspended, it's missing almost just under half of the lineup, which is just unbelievable. Who are we missing the most? It's obviously Austin Matthews, after that, is it Domi because of the flexibility of the lineup?
Based on how they're playing and how everyone has played this year and this year only, well, I'm going to say Matthew Nyes because Matthew Nyes has been just such a breakout year for him. But obviously that's the newest injury. I would say even Max Pacioretty, just because he brings some secondary scoring, which we've lacked. Obviously Domi has that Swiss Army knife tool, but he has not been producing at all Like, he's gone, 13 or 14 games to that point.
Without a point,
that being said, they're not ruling Domi out on Sunday against Utah, so maybe he'll get back in the lineup. Maybe the lack of other capable supporting casts around him causes him to just be like, all right, maybe I got to shoot the puck more. Maybe I have to put that pressure on himself to really create some offense. But yeah, I'd say Matthew Nyes if we're taking obviously.
That makes the most sense. I wanted to just bring up a thing that we're not going to talk about later, but the Athletic did a player poll that I thought was really interesting, and one of them that is a point that you brought up about injuries, and it said, should the teams disclose more about the injuries? And actually, the player poll was 2-1. Yes, it was 60-something%. Yes, they should say it more. And in the note, they do say, from quotes from anonymous players saying, yeah, targeting will probably go up, but it's not like we don't know. It's more I think it'll just be more nakedly obvious, which was very funny. I thought that was the only one. The only other one that I found really interesting from it was 93% of them want to see Ovechkin break Gretzky's record, and I was like, whoa, I knew it was gonna be high, but I was like, that's really high. And mostly it was, then I could say I played with the best goal scorer of all time. I played against him. That's pretty cool.
Who doesn't want to see that, except for the generation above us who are super hardcore
my dad
Canadians.
My dad is my dad's like, nah, I don't like it. I'm like, okay, what are you
gonna do? Okay, so we played 20 games. We're essentially a quarter of the way through the season.
Yep.
And one of my dreams have come true. The Leafs are leading in the Atlantic. I said this before the season. The most important thing about this year is winning the division, to put yourself in the best position possible to succeed in the playoffs. Because, as we know, the Atlantic is so difficult, you just want to avoid that second-third matchup. But hilariously, this is egregious.
Yeah. Oh, this is egregious.
This is egregious!
Because
this is egregious,
man. Okay, I'm pulling this up.
Okay. Oh, here we go.
Leafs, I'm complaining about the playoff format again, and this won't be the first time I do this year. I've done this many times in the past. Okay, so the Leafs are leading the division, which means they avoid the 2-3 matchup, and they're playing the first wildcard team, the better of the wildcard teams, because right now Carolina, who's leading the conference, would play the worst of the two wildcard teams. So, if the season ended today, the Leafs would be playing the New York Rangers in the first round of the playoffs.
Whoa.
The 12-5-1, 25-point New York Rangers.
Yeah.
If the Leafs were second in the division, if they were worse than they are now, they would be playing third place in the Atlantic, the 10-6-2, 22-point Tampa Bay Lightning. So once again, it's proving that this playoff format makes absolutely no sense at all. Go back to 1 versus 8. It's the only foolproof way. I understand. So Gary Bettman, when this came out, he was like, it's to start rivalries. What rivalries have begun solely because of this, other than maybe LA and Edmonton?
Yeah. Do you don't think Tampa-Toronto's a rivalry now and it wouldn't have been previously?
I guess so. I guess it is a rivalry now. You're right. I guess so.
Yeah, it's a rivalry in the way that we play each other a lot. It's a little one-sided except for one round, but yeah.
Yeah, 2 meetings in the playoffs, 1-1.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah, it's only 2. You're right. Yeah. It's a rivalry. I don't I think the problem is Toronto gets such a focus that I could look at a lot of teams and go, oh, that's a rivalry, even though it's just mostly because the media center's so big in Toronto that it's Toronto, Florida, whoa, and you're like, well, it's not really it's not a rivalry per se, Yeah, I agree. Well, I'm not arguing with you. The playoff format is stupid. So how about that?
Yeah, I just think most of the prevalent NHL rivalries, when you think about NHL rivalries, are ones that were created before this stupid ass playoff format.
That's a good point. Yeah, history creates rivalries, not history, the Avalanche Red Wings. You know what I mean? That was a rivalry because of history, not because of a stupid playoff format, because they were good. Yeah, I can't argue with you. I know whatever happens is stupid, and Gary Bettman is one of the most stubborn people in the world, so he's not going to switch because he's never going to admit that he did something wrong.
Of course. God,
that's egregious. So stupid. Holding us back, egregious. All right, my egregious is going to be we're having it's that time of season. You see it, you can feel it all over the place. No, not the holiday season. It's the, oh wait, do the Ottawa Senators suck part of the season. This is in a yearly tradition for the last 6 to 7 years where everyone goes, hey, watch out for those Ottawa Senators. Uh-oh, they're a little different. Who's going to stop this lineup? And it's like July. And it was only highlighted because James Myrtle, one of the senior editors for The Athletic and the NHL and hosts the Leaf Report, tweeted on November 12th. Keep in mind, we are November 22nd today. We are 10 days after. He tweeted, I wonder if they'll keep it close this year. Ottawa with goaltending feels like a different team. And he points out that the Leafs point pace is 96 and the Senators point pace is 87. That was 10 days ago. I bring this up because he's deleted this tweet because I think he got bullied so much on it. Because now, 10 days later, the Leafs point pace is 108 and the Senators are 78. Yes, it helps that the Senators have lost 4 games in a row, but I think it's just to highlight again. Now you start seeing the tweets from like the local reporters and stuff going like, oh, something's not right around here. And you're like, no fucking way. No way. Is this a new thing? Like, get out of here with this stuff. Ugh, egregious.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you kind of group the Senators now in with that Detroit-Buffalo threesome, the Atlantic threesome that they've been a year away for like 10 years, where it just seemed like, all right, this is the every summer. Yeah, you get all their fans and like, you know, it's the sexy pick for like, didn't Elliot Friedman also say the Senators were going to make the playoffs this year? Like, and he was like, yeah, it's the sexy pick for analysts to be like, one of these teams is going to do it. And knock off the regulars like the Lightning, the Bruins, or the Leafs. And it's just not happening. And it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. I don't know. Something has to change. And I think the only answer is like internally, like something. I don't think it's them adding pieces because each piece that they continue to add just seems like Linus Ullmark is a good player.
He is.
You know? So when you add Linus Ullmark, you're like, okay, this has to help. And it hasn't. He has not been able to make a save.
I think if you keep adding to it and you realize it keeps falling over, you have to look at the foundation. And it's not that like I'm like, oh, Brady Tkachuk is a bad player, but you have to start looking around going, well, it's got to be something. Like you got to change something because it's not happening. And I just hope and pray, Joey, that in 2 years we're doing this. But I'm like, oh, is it Montreal Canadiens suck season again? Because every week, every year, it's like, you know, Slavkovsky is really, you're like, shut the hell up. This is so good. I love it.
Yeah, because they're like a year away probably from being in that conversation where like, all right, like it's not getting any better. Yeah. Because I get they're still like in the very early stages of the rebuild. But you'd like to see, or I wouldn't like to see, but you'd like to think that naturally they would take a significant step next year. But it hasn't happened with Ottawa, hasn't happened with Buffalo, hasn't happened with Detroit.
No. And you just keep waiting. And I think it's one of those things that, like, you genuinely can take a lot of... Hey, there's a lot of Leaf stuff where people can make fun of us, and I go, yeah, what are you going to do? Yeah, you can make second round. Yeah, what are you going to do? But one of the things you can't take a lot of pride on is the way that they rebuilt this team. Yes, getting Austin Matthews is a huge help, but they had people in the minors ready to go. Austin starting the team. They were bad for a year, and then immediately were good. And you're like, whoa. And it's just, that is one of those things where these teams have been unable to do that. They've been getting number 1 draft picks. They've been getting great spots over and over again and just never been able to come over the hump. And it's just, that is something that you can take pride in, at least with the Shannon plan, that part took off. So. Yeah,
just needs to pay off.
Now we need the exhaust to go off. Yeah,
but it's November, so we're still in like November's awesome.
6-1 without Austin Matthews.
This week a super light schedule, which is kind of nice with all the injuries. Just had Vegas on Wednesday, then not until Sunday do we play Utah, and then not until the following Wednesday do we get Florida, and then the following Saturday Tampa Bay. So super light. Hopefully a chance for more than half the lineup to get back in the lineup. Interesting to see Utah, I guess.
Yep.
I don't know.
Interesting. Like whatever. I don't know. They almost feel like a not real franchise at this point, just because they don't have a name and barely a logo.
They don't. They don't.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, oh, cool. Like it's like like you're sitting at the cousins table or something like that. But obviously, I hope we win. But first game in our long history with Utah's hockey club.
Do we think what do you think the goalie situation is going to be like? Just basically with the lack of starts and both goalies playing well. Obviously, Stolarz is leading the league in save percentage. He's at a .927 clip, and like Wall's got great numbers, mind you. He's only played 6 games.
Yeah, Wall's save is 4th in save percentage in the league now.
So you're just like, okay, things are going well.
Yeah,
but do you want? Are we just splitting? Like, I still think you got to give the edge to Stellaris. It's just weird when you barely have games. You've got 2 games a week. Yeah. How can you split? Like, obviously Stellaris will get Utah. I think you got to go back to Stellaris against Florida.
I would agree with you. Yes.
And then see what happens. Yeah, I think those games against teams that you think you could play in the playoffs, you need to be starting your starting goaltender.
You and I we were getting a beer before the game, and it was Wall was announced, and you went, "Oh my god, what? Like that doesn't make any sense."
Yeah.
With a game so infrequent, you don't want to cool off Stellaris. You want to get him in the net as much as possible. Now, I do understand the argument that Wall needs to play. Like otherwise, you have no idea what you're getting. But this just felt like a very odd time to do it. Hey, it worked out with shutout, but you got to get Stellaris back in the net as soon as possible.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to track as the season goes. You want a numbers game, me?
Let's do the numbers game. I was just pulling up the numbers right now. A new version of the same game from last year where I pick a number between 1 and 99, and Joey has to name 2 Leafs who have worn that number. Joey cannot name a player who is currently on the roster. And for every player that Joey cannot name, he will donate $5 to the You Can Play Foundation, a foundation working to ensure the safety and inclusion for all that participate in sports. The current donation amount is $10. And the numbers we've used are now a bunch of them. I gotta stop listing that, but it's 2, 11, 22, 21, 18, and 71. All right, we are gonna start hammering out some numbers. This is one of the good numbers left, and I think it's a good conversation, so we're gonna be doing it. Joey, are you ready?
Ready.
All right, the number is 27.
Oh, okay, I got it.
Yep,
I got it.
You got it. I'm more interested on how many players you can name for this number, because there is quite a few.
Okay, so Frank Mahovlich and Daryl Sittler are my 2, just to I did it.
Yep.
Because those are up at the top. So when you go into the AC or Scotiabank and you look up, you see those 2 numbers there. So they can never be worn again.
No.
But I do remember Shane Corson won 27.
Absolutely, he did. Do you know Shane Corson only played 2001 to 2003 with the team? It feels like he was on the team for 8 years.
Oh wow. I guess because there was that whole wasn't there some drama there with McGillney and
yes, that is
I don't even know, so I don't even want to speak on that. But
allegedly, yes,
allegedly,
allegedly there was. Shane Corson seems to have a lot of demons, but he seems to be straightening himself out. That's nice. There's a few other players I think you can get. You name the big ones though.
Yeah, Sittler, Mahovlich, Shane Corson.
Good save, Mike's man, Frank Mahovlich. Yes. How about if I told you Michael Pekka wore the number?
Oh wow. And
Brian Marchman.
Oh wow.
For one season though, so maybe don't take too much of that. And then Gary Meehan. So for one season as well, but a good player nonetheless. So yeah, there you go. 27. Joey, congratulations, you're back on the winning ways.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Some crazy NHL news.
Oh.
Ovechkin is out 4 to 6 weeks with a fractured fibula. Sucks. Fully sucks. Fuck you, Utah. We all want to see it, and it's crazy that we talked about last week when I asked you. I was like, "Who do you think can win the Rocket?" And we didn't even name Ovechkin. And, shame on us because he was leading the goddamn league in goals before the injury happened. So it puts a pause on it.
Yeah, definitely. He was on pace for 59 goals. That's the most amazing part. And now he's out 4 to 6 weeks at least with a broken fibula.
What's he, 27 away from breaking it, 26 from tying it?
Yes.
So you think if he gets back, if you're being safe with it and you're like, okay, he's back in mid-January, then you're looking at the end of the season.
There's still a chance, which everyone thought at the beginning of the year, there's no way it's happening this year. And
just
now,
even the year he took last year, the step back. But
yes, and you thought that maybe this is just what it is. Now he's older, and now without 4 to 6 weeks, it's still possible. That is crazy.
Yeah, it's just targeting. I will say, I looked. I was like, when are the Caps in Toronto? And is there a chance it happens then? No, because they're here in late December, and I don't even know if he'll be back by then.
Gotcha.
But yeah, you start doing that. You start looking at the schedule and you're like, when is this going to happen? And I think the only thing you hope is that he does it at home. But we'll see.
Yeah, you hope
it's going to happen.
Yeah, you hope so. I think we were doing this last with the schedule with Austin Matthews and his goal marks. We were like, okay, when is he back in town? Could we maybe get a game in?
But we're not doing that this year, Andrew. It's not about milestones. It's about winning the division and winning in the playoffs. Who cares about goals? I don't care if Austin Matthews gets 10. If we win the division, I don't care.
The only things I care about is Austin Matthews coming back healthy and with a beautiful head of hair. Those are the only 2 things I care about. Fully, just beautiful hairline you've never seen before.
We need to go to Turkey.
Well, Germany, Turkey, not that far away.
Bruins fire Montgomery. That shocked me.
Yeah, it was surprising because it is so un-Bruins-like. Now, they're not playing great, but it's just Montgomery is so well regarded in the NHL. Like, it is one of those ones where he is going to be getting a job maybe even this year. Like, it's crazy. But I also this signals, can we do this? Are the Bruins dead? Are they not the Bruins anymore? Like,
no,
we can't. No, okay, all right.
No,
well, just thought I'd
they're gonna get the interim coach bump, which they they got a shutout win last night.
Yeah.
2-0 against Utah or 1-0 against Utah. Fuck you, Utah.
Wow, Utah's coming up a lot here.
I think they're gonna, just like every good team that fires their coach when they're not clicking, like Edmonton last year, like Pittsburgh the year they won the cup. Like, we've seen it so many times in so many sports. The interim coach bump is real.
Yep.
And we will probably see it from the Bruins. I would not be surprised at all if they go on a little bit of a run here. And no, I will not count the Bruins out until I actually see it. I don't want to shoot myself in the foot again, like many times.
Yes, so, sure.
I would like to avoid them, like even in the playoffs. Like even if they're not if their record is not great and we end up winning the Atlantic and our first round matchup is the Bruins, I'm not going to be happy about that.
No.
I don't think anyone on the team would, because it just it allows that doubt to creep in, and you don't want any of that crap.
No, I agree with you. It's kind of like in a slasher movie and they shoot Michael Myers and then they all sit down right in front of his body and go, well, thank God that's over. No problems with that. And he sits back up and you're like, why'd you just cut his head off? Yeah. It is a little bit like that. They're not dead until we bury them.
That being said, I do think if we want to ever win the cup, we got to beat them. Like that. So bring them on, baby. Let's do it. I've convinced myself already.
Especially this year. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much Swayman and Allmark, their numbers are so similar. It's crazy. Now even onto still hugging all those years later. It's they still scare me. But surprising news. I thought they were going to stick with them, especially because they were saying all the right things when that Marchand thing happened and he called him out. And Marchand's like, no, we should be called out. That's totally fine. I thought that was like the symbol of like, oh no, they're going to keep him. Nope. Fired him. Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, but if we've learned anything, it's just to not count them out. Don't count those teams out. That's all we got today. That's all the time we got. But if you made it this far, appreciate the hell out of all you good buds. Thank you so much for listening, and go Leafs go.
Go Leafs go.
When you're back down in Mexico, I hope you feel better like you wanted to then. No, we haven't talked.
Furnished by Sad Styles Productions.
Give me